What is a business permit? We're going to answer that question in this video. Okay, let's rock. Let's talk about a business permit. So you're asking, what is a business permit? Okay, I'll tell you. In most people's eyes, it's a business license. But let's not confuse business license with business permit, because in some regards, business permits are a little bit different. And here's what I mean. Generally, a business license is the form that you get. It's the certificate that you get from the city that's got your business name on it. It might even come from the state, but usually from the city. Your business name, maybe your name, the address, and it's from the city that you're in. So it'll say City of Overland Park, and it might say City of Overland Park, Kansas, right? And then it'll have your business information underneath it. Now, a city license, a business license, is simply like a driver's license. It's a right to be open within that jurisdiction, within that city, within that state, within that region, that town. That's what a license is. Generally, when you think about permit, when I hear business permit, the first thing that comes to mind is safety. Because there's different types of business permits. They're not your license. It's not the license on the wall that's allowing you to have your business open like your business license is. The business permits are different permits that basically are allowing you to be compliant with different safety measures, right? Different things. So you could have a permit for occupancy. You could have a permit for your build out, like your construction. There might be one for, say, the fire department or something similar like that. And you need those permits because what's going to happen is they're going to send generally a city inspector or state inspector to come and make sure that whatever you're doing is up to code, is up to, that you're compliant. And the reason is they don't want anybody getting hurt. That's the whole reason that they have these inspectors and these permits, is for safety. They want to make sure, okay, you're going to be setting up a new business. Let's make sure if you're going to change the inside of this building, that you're not making it to where somebody could get hurt, right? You're not overloading a bunch of electrical outlets, There's so many factors that come into play when you're setting up a new business. So it's not just so much what is a business permit, it's what are business permits. If you think of it like that, there's lots of different ones. And you can go down the list. I can't tell you how many ones. Heck, there's sign permits. There's permits just for signage. When you want to set up your business and you want to have your signage up, believe it or not, your sign company and you're going to have to apply for a sign permit just to have the city come out, make sure that usually by now it's done through email, but they want to be able to see your drawings, your renderings. They want to make sure that the sizes, when they come out, make sure that they conform with what the city, minimums, maximums are, because ultimately cities don't want it to be the Wild West. They don't want you to be able to make a sign so gigantic that it just looks goofy on the building. And maybe the landlord doesn't want that either. Usually the landlord that you're leasing the space from also has to sign off on your sign permits to make sure, hey, that's his building, that's his property, to make sure that those signs are okay with the landlord. So understand that. So there's so many kinds. But when I think of permits, the first thing is safety. So I think restaurants. And I'm like, okay, so in a restaurant business, they're going to have these city inspectors coming in, right? The health, the environment, the food, all the different people in the different divisions are going to come in and make sure that the food that you're serving is not going to hurt anybody, right? That it's clean, that it's being cut correctly, that it's not spoiled. You want to make sure that the facility that a restaurant, is in the back of the kitchen isn't dirty, right? So you want to have the Department of Health or Environment or OSHA or whoever, you want to make sure that they're checking on these restaurants periodically and making sure that things are not, not up to code or whatever. Because ultimately, if you have a business and you've gotten it going and if you're not up to code, you're going to get shut down. I've seen it. I've gone to a restaurant before where it literally was a sign on the front door that says temporarily closed or something like that because they weren't compliant. They weren't conforming to what the city requirements were. But usually, if you do your due diligence and you do all your checking and you know what's required and you keep up with it, you have your managers, your assistant managers, you train your staff, like I always talk about with your processes and your systems. Maybe you're putting reminders on your phone every single month and you're like, okay, I got to make sure this has been done, or maybe once a week. And if it's cleaning, heck, that means to be multiple times a day, right? Making sure, because at some point, some inspector's going to come in and check on your place and you don't want to get shut down. So in the beginning, when you're setting up your business, you're going to need a lot of different permits. And just know that. So the best thing to do is to call your city, your local town, and ask them, say, hey, I'm going to be getting into this restaurant business. And I want to know what permits and licenses I'm going to need in order to open up this business. I mean, heck, if you're into healthcare or something like that, there might be a lot more permits or licenses. I'm into precious metals. So like when we buy gold and silver, we have to have a precious metals license. And if you want to have a pawn shop, you got to have a pawnbroker's license, right? And then there's things you have to do that you have to follow in order to maintain that. And there's rules that you have to follow with any permit or license. But in the end, when you're talking about permit, I know it's so easy to get discouraged and frustrated and angry with the city and whatnot, but just know that those city officials, those employees there, they're not there. They're truly not there to ruin your day. They're truly not there to hurt you and bother you. They're just following the rules that were set up in the best interest of the citizens, right? In the best interest of the people. They're there to help you get set up so you conform to everything. And so you'll have situations like you talk about ADA compliance, right? Before you're doing your build out, you want to make sure that, if somebody's coming in, say with a wheelchair, that they can actually get into your facility, into a table or whatever, and that there's enough walkway. These are things you have to plan for. And this is what I always say when you're setting up a business. Plan your business like a pilot plans their landing. You never see a pilot take off and then right when they're above a certain city ready to land, they just land. You never see that, right? Okay, and there's a reason why. Well, you can't exactly land a plane like that. Planes aren't like helicopters. They don't just land. You have to, once you take off and you get to your cruising altitude and you're getting ready to descent, you've got your whole flight plan scheduled, right? So your business, you need a business flight plan. You need to know from start to finish all the permits, all the licensing, all the things you have to be compliant about. Get that all on paper, like a checklist, and check every single one off. And you get that information simply by calling the city, letting them know what type of business you're going to be into, letting them come out to your facility that you're going to be leasing, your building, if you're in a shopping center. Meet the city inspector, say, hey, this is our space. This is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to email you my architectural plans. I have my architect drawing up the plans right now, and you go back and forth until you comply. And that person honestly is on your team because you want them to approve your drawings. You want them to approve everything so they can issue you permits so you can open up, get your certificate of occupancy, get your business license, and rock and roll. Okay, everybody, so I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like it. Please comment if there's anything that you'd like to see me talk about in the future. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe. And don't forget, no matter how hard it gets in business, never give up. Keep pushing, push hard, and be the hustler.